Okay, so it's done now, so it's complete. So scoop that out of the way. You can see we've got our two functions here. Got the generate user key function and then the verify and retrieve key function. So got both of those, so that's good to go. All right, so in your command line over here, don't close this because we're going to need these addresses here, which these are the URLs to our functions, so we can make our API calls to those. So to do that, let me close out some stuff here. Okay. All right. So let's go back over here to FlutterFlow and go to our API builder, and we're going to add one. And we're going to call this I can't do numbers. Okay. Let's do generate SHA key, and that's going to be a post request. And for that, let's see here, we need go here to our command line, and we need to grab the correct one. So generate key is our address. So just copy that and paste it in your API URL. We're not going to have any headers for this. We're just going to have I don't think we're even going to have body, honestly. I think it's going to receive it as a URL. So it's going to be, yeah. So it's just going to receive this as, it's going to get the data from the URL. So you don't actually need a body. We're not going to be parsing anything out, but you do need a variable. So go to your variable and go ahead and add. The only one we need to send to this cloud function is UID. So just type UID and it'll be string, obviously. And then up here in your API URL, go ahead and append that. So we're going to do $UID equals, and then do open bracket and do UID so that we can get our variable in there and then close the bracket. And we can add the call, and we can go over here. And if we turn that on, I don't remember, you can see over here, we've got our API endpoint, and you can see URLs appended to the end. And then, of course, if you type stuff in there, it'll add your UID in there. All right, so before we run this, save that. Let's go ahead and add our other one to be able to decrypt. So let's add another call. We're going to call this one retrieve. Let's call it decrypt, so it's not confusing. So we got generate SHA key and decrypt SHA key. And it's going to be a GET request. Now we need our endpoint for that. So it's going to be this one. Let me drag that out. So we will get verify and retrieve. We'll copy that endpoint and drop it in there. There's no headers for this one either. And it's going to get its parameters from the URL as well. So we're just going to go straight to variable. And we're going to do, let's see here what our variables were. It's going to be retrieve, yeah. So we're going to do UID as a string, and we will do hash code also as a string. All right, and then our URL up here, do this, and we're going to do UID equals UID, and hash code equals hash code. All right, so that should be correctly set up now. let's add that one. Let's go over here and make sure that it's in there. Okay, so it's receiving correctly. Okay, cool. Alright, so we should be good to go. So we should be able to go ahead and test this real quick. Make sure that we're getting our calls through. So if you had an actual UID, so you would get that from your auth user UID, which will set all this up inside the actual builder inside of FlutterFlow, but we're just going to test to make sure we're getting our calls back here. So I'm just going to do that, and I'm going to do test API call. Alright, so we did get a return, which H key, which that's the hash, the 256 hash. So let's go down here and add this as a path so we can have it later. Okay, and then we want to grab that. And it's my UID, so let's go here and make sure the UID is the same, and our hash code. All right, now before I run that, let's go in here real quick back to our Firestore, and you're going to see that user keys collection is now here because we successfully created that with that function. You go over here. It has the secret key stored here, and it has the UID stored here. So it set all that up correctly, and that worked just fine. So come back here. Now we want to send this information in, decrypt it using the secret key, because the UIDs will match. It'll get the secret key, it'll decrypt the SHA code, and then it'll confirm that the decrypted SHA code's UID matches the UID parameter, and assuming that it does, then it's going to reach over here, and it's going to make sure that video upload matches the API type, and it should return us our library ID and our API key. All right, cool. So we've got our API key here. It returned that for us, and it returned our library ID. So that's what we want. All right, so we're going to add these as paths as well. So we can just go ahead and have them here. So this will be library. Just going to title it what it is: library ID and API key. Okay, so we got that taken care of. We're generating our key and our SHA key, and we're able to return our API key correctly. So that's all set up correctly there. All right, so the next thing that we want to do then, we need to create a cloud function to make the post request to create the video object in Bunny. Which I don't know why I said cloud function. We don't need to create a cloud function. We're just going to make the API call directly to Bunny. Actually, I need to step back initially. The way I'm going to have this set up, let me go to Bunny real quick and show you. So you can see this button up here, Add Collection. You can give it a name. When a user first creates their account, I'm going to have them create a collection here. So that they have a collection for their account specifically. So what we actually need to do is create a collection first. So we need to make that API call first. So let's add that one. Just make sure we get it done. So and that's going to be a post request. And then to do that, we want to send our endpoint URL, which we can get from Bunny's documentation, but that's going to be it right there. So video.bunnycdn.com/library. And we actually want to get rid of this because we're going to be passing the library ID in dynamically. let's see here, this information, it's going to be sent as a JSON, so but that's okay. We'll still send this. So let's go ahead and do our bracket, and we'll just set it as library. Whoa, I am not in the right keys. Library ID bracket. All right, so the body, this is going to receive a body, and it's going to be JSON. So go ahead and create that. Let's go over our variables and create the first one that we need here, which is name. So this is the name of the collection, whatever you want to name it. I'm going to set that as a string, and then our other variable will be library ID. And then back at body, we're going to go into our JSON here, and we're going to set that up real quick. So you drag this down. That's all that's going to be passed as the JSON, because that is actually going to be put inside the URL itself. Okay. We do need to add our headers in here. So let's add our first header. I'm going to grab that from over here real quick. So we need to do our content type first, and then we need to do our API key, which is, it starts with access key. I'm going to do space, and we're going to pass this in dynamically, obviously, because we're getting it from our Firestore. So we're going to title this API key like that. Let's save it. Oh, what's going on here? Okay. What's the issue? Query parameters. Why is this giving me hell? Okay, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Oh. Whoops. Okay, sorry. I know what's wrong. Since I put that in brackets, we got to create a variable for it, obviously. Yep. So that's the issue. So set that as a string. There we go. All right, so now it'll pass our API key to the header the way it should. So all that's set up correctly. All right, so let's see here. We're just going to give it a test name, just to test our call here. We do need to get our library ID, which I'm not going to do that again here. I'm just going to go and grab it from here. Let's see here, library ID. And then our API key. All right, so again, we're sending the name as JSON in the body to name the collection, and then library ID is being sent with the URL right there, and then the API key is being sent as a header. So this should create a video object for us and return the GUID for that video object. All right, so that was quick. It returned it here. That's our video ID right there. It gives you a little bit more information if you want it. But this is all we really want here, so I'm going to add a JSON path for that. And I'm just going to label it video ID for reference. If we go to our Bunny here, and then we just refresh this real quick, you can see our test collection is here now, so I created that just fine. We go in here, see there's nothing in here, so we need to go ahead, and I apologize, I misspoke, I forgot what we were doing. that created the collection. This GUID, and I need to change this, is actually the collection ID. Sorry, it's late here, so bear with me. I'm a little tired. So this is the collection ID. All right, not the video ID. So now we need to create the video object. So we do need the collection ID for that. And so what I would suggest is, if you plan on creating collections and designating it to specific users, after you create their collection and it returns the collection ID, just store that collection ID for them, either in app state locally or in their Firebase Firestore account or user document, wherever you want to store that, you can. But I'm just going to copy it for now. Let's see. Need to do that. Okay. All right. So now we want to create the actual request to send or create a video object. So let's do create. That'll be a post request, and then the endpoint for that is going to be this. Copy it from over here real quick. All right, and obviously we want to set this dynamically here. Okay. And then let's go down here. We do need to set up our headers real quick, so let's take care of that. So first one I'm gonna do is, I had 3 on here. I'm not really sure why I was doing all 3, but I guess I'll just do all 3. I don't think the middle one is actually necessary, but for some reason I have it, so I'm gonna, oops, keep it. So there's our access key. And let's put this in here. And then we're going to put our content type as well. All right, let's go over here. And our body is going to be JSON. Let's go ahead into our variables here. The first one, I'll just go ahead and do library ID. And API key. And then for our JSON body, we're going to have title, which is required by Bunny. Collection ID, this is not required by Bunny, but we do want to assign it to the collection that we just created. And then thumbnail time, this one's not required either, but you can select the time for the thumbnail that will be returned. All right, that should be good to go. Okay, all those on. All right, so we need to grab our library stuff again. So let's go back here. Let's go ahead and grab our API key. And let's grab our library ID. And then title, do whatever you want with this. Pass it in as a variable inside your workflow. And collection ID, I need to grab that and paste it over here. And then thumbnail time, I'm just gonna do like 3 seconds. Or at the 3-second mark, I should say. All right, so we've got all that set up. All that looks correct. Let's go ahead and run it. All right, so that was quick. Let's see. Uh-oh, that responded with a 400. What? Non-empty request. Oh, yeah. Sorry, still tired. That has not changed. I wish y'all could say something to me. Yeah, we actually did not put anything in the body. Whoops. So yeah, we need to do that. So title, boy, I need to go to sleep. I don't think I should be doing this right now. And collection ID. And then thumbnail. And format it, make sure it's right, and then save. All right, we should be good now. Let's try that again. There we go. All right, so created the video object, returned a lot of information about it. But the main one that we want here is the GUID for the video. So that's the actual video ID that we want. So we just want to go down here and save that as a path. So this will be video ID. Okay, that's taken care of. And then if we go back over to our Bunny, into our collection here, test collection, just refresh it real quick. Now you're going to see that we've got a video object in here. It just says uploading because it's waiting on byte data to be passed up in here. Okay. All right, so that's good to go. So now we've taken care of all of our API calls. We should be done with that. We're going to have to now run the rest of this as a custom action because, again, the way FlutterFlow handles put requests, it will not pass the data correctly to Bunny. Bunny expects it in a very specific way. So we can't do it through here, but it's okay. We can just run it as a custom action here. Whoops, not team action. Action, there we go. And so I'm going to grab the code for that, and we'll take a look at it real quick. Let's see here. It should be right here. Okay, here it is. All right, it's going to be what we're working with here. So the URL endpoint for uploading actual video is right here. Obviously, you're going to want to pass the video ID here. You're also going to want to pass the API key. You got to pass it every single time. It's getting parameters. The parameters that will be passed in will be API key, library ID, video ID, and then the uploaded file bytes, which when I save, you'll see that in a minute. It's very simple code. I'll give you access to that too. It's basically just uploading these bytes to the correct collection. And so when we save the action, oh yeah, that's right, we gotta name it. Make sure your names match. All right, now it's gonna create our parameters for us over here. So you've got the API key parameter, library ID parameter, video ID parameter, and uploaded file parameter. Okay. So it's good to go. So let's go ahead and run that real quick, compile it. Maybe not. I'll do that in a minute. We'll just work with it for now. Okay, so that's good to go. All right, so now let's go into our pages here. And I'm just going to create a couple of test pages for this. And in test one, I'll get rid of all that. Whoops, I want to get rid of that. Ugh, sorry, I'm tired. I'm yawning. Put that stuff in the middle. All right. And let's do the button. Put that over in the middle. All right, so I'm going to apply some actions here to this button. Open that up. So the first one that I'm going to want to do here, obviously you probably want to set this up with your authentication workflow, but I'm not going to go do all of that. So I'm just going to set it up here. So the very first one that we'd want to do, we probably want to go ahead and, let's see here, we could do, well, it's not a custom action, it's a API. Let's see, generate SHA code, doesn't really matter which one we do first, it's really up to you. I guess I'll just go ahead and generate our code. And UID would be passed in, authenticated users UID. And I'm not gonna keep that. We do want our output here, so this will output our hash, and then another API call, which would be creating the user collection, and we're going to name it, which you can name it whatever you want, or apply the name however you want. I'm just going to do it like this for now. Well, that wouldn't be very unique, would it? You know what? Forget that. I'm just gonna just do random data, random string. There we go. That'll be fine. And then library ID. Let's see. We're gonna have to retrieve that first. So we may as well go ahead and do that. So that's kind of a reason why it's not good to set these up here in the same row, but whatever. Alright, so we generate the key. Let's go ahead and do this real quick. Line this up here. So I go to state management. I need to actually add that. That's right. So let's go here and add this. And we're going to do, let's do hash code. Persisted. Let's go back over here. Set that. Set the value. Hash code output. Be our predefined path. Hash key. I don't need to rebuild. Okay, so that's good to go there. All right, and then let's go ahead and do this. Be an API call, and now we want to decrypt. Grab the UID from the user again. And what are we doing here? Hash code. Let me just get that from our output. Okay. All right, and then this will be API key output. Oh, and it'll also return the library ID. So let's go ahead and go to our action output and do API key output. JSON predefined path, and we'll select library ID for that one, and then for API key. It's pretty obvious. We'll go here, API key output, predefined path, API key. All right, so that'll, again, this is not how I'd actually have it set up in a real app, but we need to generate this stuff in a certain order. So we generate the SHA key first for the user, we'll return that, we'll save it to their app state, and then we will use that returned SHA code, send it back to another function to decrypt it and retrieve our API key and our library ID, which will then be plugged into our create collection. We assigned it a random name, plugged our library ID and our API key in. And that will, again, create the collection with that user. And then I want to, I'm going to store it locally, so we're going to do collection ID, which I think, since we're grabbing that stuff, we can actually move this down, not repeat it twice. We can have it at the end of the workflow, since we're getting information from the previous calls. And so we will do, so that's hash code. Let's set collection ID here. Set the value from this action output, which I want to change that. It's identifiable. Collection ID output, so JSON body will be predefined path and collection ID. All right, so all that stuff is set now. So we should have all that information that we need. Collection ID is created. All right, and then I'm going to just copy this, duplicate this page, and just label it test2. Go back to test1. And I'm going to have a navigate action to test2. All right, so in test2, get rid of all that. So what we want to do here then, we want to create our video object and upload our video. So very first thing we actually want to do is upload our video as byte data. So let's go to utilities and upload data and upload media and local upload, which it states as the byte data. And then I'm just going to set this gallery since we're just using my computer here. I'm going to shut photo off and just leave video on. And video bytes. Go ahead and get that. Now let's go ahead and run. I think we'll run our put request next. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Or I'm sorry, did we even create? I don't think we did. We need to do a post request. We just created a collection. Yeah. So we actually need to create the video object. So let's do a post request. Let's do API call and let's see here, create video object. I don't really want to have to decrypt again. It'd be a waste of time. But we're not setting this up like I really would, so I don't know. Let's just decrypt again. May as well. All right, so let's do API call and decrypt. So we can grab the stuff from the state variable anyway. So app state would be no wait, that's UID, user ID, hash code app state. Grab our hash code there. All right. Can't remember if I've already got that labeled that way. All right, so we want our API key, so that should return the API key and the library ID. And now we want to create our video object. So library ID will come from the output that we just created. API key, same place. And then let's see here. Oh, yeah, that's right. My goodness Christ. Okay. I really need to go to sleep when I realized that I created that collection with the wrong thing, but whatever. doesn't matter. All right, so title, this is actually where it'd be random data, random string. Okay. All right. And then collection ID, we can get that from app state. And then thumbnail time, you can just do whatever you want there. All right, and now we want to do video ID output. Look at that. Okay. So now for this, I'm going to go ahead and create a document in videos that collection we set up. Just fill all these up real quick so we can get a look at them. So video URL, I'm going to leave that blank because the function will take care of that, which we could have essentially done what we're going to do here if we wanted to. Originally I wasn't planning on grabbing the thumbnail URL here, so I didn't apply it to the function, but you could just do it this way. But anyway, for this, where is it? I gotta find that. Where is it at? Maybe go over here. Thumbnail. So I can just copy this here. Paste it. So looking at this, so this is our CDN address provided by Bunny. This is the GUID for the video, and then it's going to grab the thumbnail, the first one that I set, with the post request right here. So that'll return the thumbnail. Again, you could have done that with the video URL and just pasted the HLS URL in there, assuming that you have the correct video ID, but I just left it up to the function to handle that. Then is draft, we're going to set yes or true. Upload fail will be false, and then video GUID from variable, we're going to get that from the action output of video ID output. Okay. All right, so we got that taken care of, which we can actually set that to non-blocking so that it'll work asynchronously with the next API call that we're going to do. What's the next one? Or I'm sorry, it's actually a custom action. That's right. I think we've taken care of all that. Yeah. So we got to do it as a custom action, which is the upload. And then we can grab our API key from our output. Our library ID, same thing. And our video ID will come from here. And then our uploaded data, which would be widget state uploaded local file. And if you wanted to let the user continue on, like if you have other parts of the app after they initiate that, like filling out maybe a description or whatever, then just set that to non-blocking so that they can move throughout the app while the upload does its thing. Okay. So obviously, again, if you were actually setting this up for a live environment, you wouldn't want to like repeat this stuff so close together. You ideally create the collection when a user signs up, as well as create their SHA-256 when a user signs up, maybe during their onboarding workflow, and then save that information to app state or to their document in Firestore. And then whenever it comes time for you to have them upload something, you cut down on repeating these things so close together, and then you just have this stuff and be able to get the correct information from app state. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video, clear out the errors, run up a test mode, and then show you the entire process, how it works. And that'll be it. This is a long tutorial. I did not expect it to take this long. But anyway, pause that. Okay, so while I was clearing out errors and compiling it for test run, I realized a couple of things. First of all, I want to address it real quick. In app state, where you save your hashed SHA-256 code, I had put it in here as hash code. Apparently, that just so happens to be some package or something that FlutterFlow uses. And so when I tried to use it inside of app state, it caused a conflict and wouldn't build. So just delete that where it says hash code and then add it again and just give it something, a different name. I wouldn't use hash or code or anything like in it. I just named it HKey just as a reminder. And when you do that, obviously you're going to have to go back in to here into your actions and reset that to update correctly. But of course your errors will tell you where you need to go when that happens. So that's issue number one. Issue number two is we never created our webhook call. We need to be able to do that. That's vitally important. So our our stuff won't update automatically if we don't have that. So we need to get that taken care of. Let me see here. Where am I at? Where is my webhook stuff? Alright, I think this is it. Yeah. Okay, so what we want to do then, we actually are going to create another function. I actually meant to put this, although I guess we could just add it in there. That would actually be a good idea. So like I said, you can just have one running index with all of your functions. So that's what we're going to do. So this is our index file for the other functions we created. So I'm going to drag it into my thing over here. And I'm going to go, not there. Shoot, this isn't it either. Hold on, let me figure out where I need to go here real quick. Dang it. Okay, this is it. There we go. So this is the function code that we want here. So I'm gonna actually, I don't need all that. That's right. We have that. We have all that. I just need my exports. So let me grab that and then come over here to my index and go down to the very bottom. Oops. And get rid of the tab and then paste that in there and save it. Then, okay, should be good there. So let's do, just to make sure. Okay. All right. So yeah, we definitely want to set that up for sure. So there's no API calls or anything that we need to make to this because this function responds to the webhook that's sent from Bunny. So every time the status changes on the video as it's uploading, Bunny will automate that webhook and it'll send a call to this function, and based off of the status ID, the function will handle it accordingly. So there's nothing we need to do further here. So I'm going to let that finish, then I'm going to run a test mode, and then we'll run through it real quick, make sure everything works right. Yeah, so I'm just going to pause it again until we get that done. Okay, this finished. I should mention that you need to copy your URL here for the webhook URL, so grab that. Oops. For your function, and you do need to drop it in over here. Where's that at? Right here. So on your API settings for your library, go all the way down to webhook URL, paste that cloud function in there, and save it. Alrighty, so I'm going to refresh test mode, and then we'll take a look at it. Okay, so we're good to go for testing, so let's do this real quick. We're on the first page. I probably should have changed colors on the pages so they're a little bit more identifiable, but so this will create the collection for us. It'll create the SHA-256. It'll save the app state. It'll do all those first steps. So this again would be like if you're setting it up for your authentication workflow. Okay, that's pretty quick. Let's go see if it took it. Alright, these are keys. Okay, so we got our secret key here, and UID. Let's see, this is my user account, so that is right, it's the same. Okay, so that worked. That created our SHA-256, so that completed correctly, and it sent us to the next page without any errors. So this one is going to let me upload a video and create the object so that other one created the collection. So let's make sure that worked correctly. Okay, so there's a collection that was just created. So now we're going to create a video object and upload to it. So where am I at? Let's go back here. Okay, let's go here first, refresh that. Alright, so we've got our video object here, created that just fine. So let's go here, created our videos document, is draft, so it's still uploading, so the webhook hasn't called this yet to change that to false or failure. We've got our video ID in here, so that's good. So let's go back over here, let's refresh that again. So how we're looking. We're still uploading here. Okay. Refresh that. It seems to be taking a minute. Hope I didn't send a bad video file. It's quite possible that I did. Shoot. Seems to be taking longer than it should. Well, I have to try a different video and see if that's the issue. Okay, well, let me go here real quick. That's right, I didn't run this through here. Okay, that's not going to help me. 404. This is probably the one that I just dropped in here. Let's see here. Safari. What is that? Thumbnail. That's interesting. Huh. Curious. When was that sent? Yeah, that was very recent. Yeah, that's interesting. Huh. How strange. I don't know why it's taking so long to upload. Oh, there we go. That took a really long time for some reason. I'm not sure why that took so long. But anyway, yeah, it went through just fine. So let's go back over here to database. Make sure that this updated correctly. So now you can see its draft is false, which means it'll be live in the feed. Failed is false, it didn't fail. The function injected our thumbnail, well, I'm sorry, that was already injected in there, but it injected our video URL in here, which again is going to be saved as an HLS file. There's our video GUID and thumbnail URL, so copy this. It's not letting me access that for some reason. I'm not found. It's not finished generating the thumbnail. That's kind of curious. Let's copy it from here. Yep, there it is. So what thumbnail am I returning exactly? It's a good question. How did we set that up? Is this test 2? Let's go in here real quick. You know how this is returning that. So when we create our document here, thumbnail. Yeah, that could be a problem. Not entirely sure why I did it that way. Whoops. So that's why that's not working, obviously, because it's returning the wrong thing. So what you actually want to do is set it from variable and do combined text, and then this will be the first part, and then you need to get your video UID there, which you can get that from your action output, I believe. Video ID output, that's what we want. And then we would do this. There we go. So yeah, make sure you do that correctly. Otherwise, you're not going to return the correct thing. But now it's set up right, so sorry about that. I don't know why I didn't fix that before. Except for the fact that I'm extremely tired, so that might be why. Could be a big part of it. So anyway, there's a thumbnail, so that's good. That worked out correctly. And then if you try and play HLS in web browser, so if you like drop it in here, an MP4 typically would pull up some sort of video player, but HLS you have to have a specific, you can install like a plugin or extension for your browser to be able to play it, or you can go to a website, where did I have that saved at? It was this one. There's this website where you can just like test HLS videos, which I'll show you here. I'm just going to grab it from over here though. Actually, let's grab it from here so we make sure that it's sent to the correct URL. pull this over, and then you just drop it in here like this. And it's not wanting to play for some reason. Yeah, that's a problem. I'm not entirely sure what's going on, why it's not playing. Okay, well, now I gotta troubleshoot. Let's grab it from here and see if we're even passing the right thing over. Okay, so clearly we did not pass the right HLS URL for some reason, which is interesting. It doesn't really make sense. It's weird. I'm not even sure what that's supposed to be going to. At this point, obviously it doesn't exist, whatever it is. 5.7. Let's see, B5D. What is this? That's the right video ID. Huh. That's interesting. 803. I mean, I guess I should double check that. 803. It should be the right one. So what's the issue here? It's weird. Not really sure. Should be passing the correct thing here. Unless, I bet I know what the problem is. Yeah. Yep, that's a problem. Okay. Yeah. Alright, so the issue is it's nothing wrong with how the code is performing. It's doing exactly as it's supposed to be doing, but inside the cloud function, I should have changed the CDN endpoint URL because I'm the way that it creates it. I'll put a note by it for you so that when you run with this code, you can you know what to change there. But it was set to another CDN URL that I set up for a project that I'm actually working on. I just forgot to change it when I was doing this tutorial, so it's trying to look at a different project's CDN URL, and that's why it returned the wrong thing. But it returned the right video ID, so it is doing that correctly. And as you could see with the test mode, it does work. So this confirms that that we're working. HLS is working. So it's all good to go. All right. Hopefully that wasn't overly confusing. I'm extremely sleepy, and it was kind of a challenge to get through. I was hoping to have this sucker done in 45 minutes. We're pushing 2 hours. I'm probably gonna split this and do a two-parter. So, but that's it. All the codes, links to the codes will be in the description of the video. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll notate as best as possible to help you through it. If you have problems or questions, join the Discord channel or server. I'll put a link to that in the description as well. It's not likely that I'll respond to you on YouTube for questions and stuff like that, because it's just it's not a great place to troubleshoot issues. If you want to troubleshoot, come to Discord. And my Buy Me a Coffee link is also in the description. So if you want to buy me coffee, which I clearly did not have tonight, so if you don't want to put up with my extreme tiredness for the next tutorial, I'd really appreciate some caffeine. Alright, goodbye for now.